Okay, so we come to the second open-ended question in the 2014 National 5 Physics paper. And this is a question about satellites. And as a reminder, open-ended question has no fixed response. It usually has the phrase in it, using your knowledge of physics, comment on a statement, and it's given a mark out of 3. It's generally quite difficult to get the full 3 marks on these type of questions. From my experience, most people tend to get either 2 or 1 marks. So I'm just going to give you some possible suggestions of ideas that you could use in answer to this question. So let's have a look at it. A communications satellite is used to transmit live television broadcasts from the UK to Canada. A student states that to allow the live television broadcast to be received in Canada, it is important the satellite does not move. Use your knowledge of physics to comment on this statement. So really what this is asking about is something called geostationary satellites. So I'm going to draw a very simple picture here of one side of the Earth. So there's the Earth, and maybe on the Earth, if I can get maybe a different color, we might have an area here, and this area here might be the United Kingdom, and over here on this side of the world we have Canada. And there you go. You can tell I didn't get very well at art class at school. But anyway, the satellite in question might sit somewhere above the surface of the Earth, say about here. So there's a satellite, there's a little solar panels connected to the satellite, and there are some dishes on the satellite to transmit and receive the signal. So the signal will travel from, say, the United Kingdom. It will travel up in a straight line to the satellite, be received by this satellite, and then retransmitted down to Canada, or vice versa. So I suppose the question to ask ourselves is, does this satellite move? Well, it's called a geostationary satellite, and I think that's one of the things you need to talk about when you're answering this question. Geostationary satellite. And you should explain what a geostationary satellite is. It's one that has a height, I think it's about 36,000 kilometers above the Earth's surface. And in one sense, it does not move. And that sense is that it remains in a fixed position above the Earth's surface. Another way to put that is that as the Earth rotates around, the satellite also rotates around at the same rate. In other words, it takes 24 hours to orbit the Earth, in the same way that the Earth takes 24 hours to spin on its own axis. And so if that's true, then the satellite will always remain in a constant fixed position above the Earth's surface. So it would be good to explain that the satellite has a period of rotation of 24 hours, and so it stays in the same position above the Earth's surface, maybe somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, but it is moving because it's orbiting the Earth. So I think that's where this question is talking about, and that's where it's leading towards. In one sense, the satellite does not move, but in another sense, it is moving. Anything which is orbiting is in free fall. It's falling toward the Earth's surface, and it never quite hits it because of the Earth's curvature. It just keeps falling toward the Earth. And that's another avenue that you could talk about as well. The key thing about this is that you're using your knowledge of physics. You're using physics to explain what you think is the answer to the problem. So there we go, a number of things to talk about, and hopefully I've shed some light on what are some of the things you might say to get the 3 marks.